Stranger Things 4 released over 2 years ago, and since then there have been thousands, and I mean thousands of theories made about season 5. So today I'm going to break down 9 different theories and give you my thoughts. If you guys enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it with a friend and dropping a like. Now without further ado, let's get right into it. The first theory I want to dive into is the Star Wars theory. You know, the one where Vecna could turn out to be Eleven's father. Here's the theory. Eleven's mom, Terry Ives, was experimented on at Hawkins' lab, and she later realized during the experiments she was pregnant. During her time at the lab, Henry Creel was also there, who is obviously Vecna, and they were both in their late 20s or early 30s. Now the main argument for this theory is, but Vecna isn't old enough. Well, Vecna could actually be well into his 30s. Henry Creel was born in 1947, making him around 40 years of age in season 5. And Terry Ives, who's Eleven's mother, was born in 1951, just 4 years younger than Creel. Now let's talk about the timeline. Vecna clearly had a special interest in Eleven, prioritizing her even when planning his escape from the lab. Despite numerous chances, he never harmed her. And there's always been some sort of connection hinted between Eleven and Henry Creel, but it was never fully explored. Now I know some might argue that Eleven's father is actually Andrew Rich, who is Terry's boyfriend. But do we really know if that's the case? All we actually know is that Rich went to Vietnam and died without knowing about Terry's pregnancy. And we don't know exactly when Terry entered the lab. It only says early 1970s. If Rich left in 1969 or 1970, Terry might not have even entered the lab until 1973. Terry stormed into Hawkins' lab to find Jane in 1974. The timelines align and the connections between Vecna and Eleven make sense. And we all know the Duffer Brothers love to pay homage to 80s movies and TV shows. They have not referenced The Empire Strikes Back yet, and the movie has a very similar storyline to what I'm suggesting here. Imagine the shock if it turns out to be Eleven's father is actually Vecna. It would change everything we thought we knew about Stranger Things. Now, like I said, the reason this theory is so popular in a large part of the Stranger Things community is because the Duffer Brothers have already referenced so many movies from the 80s in their storylines, and in certain scenes. So why not have one of the most iconic moments in Star Wars to be replicated in Stranger Things? Well, personally, I don't think it's going to happen because it's way too obvious. And I think they would be afraid of the possibility that Stranger Things could turn out to be the show known as the show that copied Star Wars. And none of us want that. But regardless, I think it's a fun and interesting theory, and I love talking about it because it would break the internet if it became true. And imagine if Vecna revealed that to Eleven and then ended up sacrificing himself. The next theory is titled, "Is Will Byers the key to ending it all?" I've made several videos on this, but I did it for a good reason, because it's such a popular theory. A lot of fans think Will Byers has to die for the connection to the Upside Down to completely disappear. This is what people are theorizing about. I definitely think it's possible for a multitude of reasons. Let's start out with the obvious. In season 2, when Will was in the hospital getting treated by Dr. Owens, he said, "It wants to kill everyone but me," referring to the Mind Flayer, of course. Ever since he said that, me along with many other fans have been saying that in order for this to all end, Will needs to die. However, there are scenarios where this doesn't make any sense at all. For example, why would they have Joyce and Jonathan go through all of this just to watch Will die in the end? Why would the kid that never fit in due to his sexuality be the one that has to die? Why wouldn't Eleven be the one to die since she's the one who sent one to the alternate dimension in the first place? There are a lot of questions surrounding this theory, but ultimately I think it's a toss-up. A 50-50 chance that Will could potentially be the one that has to die in order for this to all end. And I don't think any of us will know until we watch the episode where it finally all ends. I also think a big reason why this won't happen is simply due to the fact that a main character dying in season 5, in my opinion, is unlikely. Like I've said previously, I think it's far more likely to see someone like Karen meet her fate next season rather than some of the main characters who have already had the most screen time out of anyone else. Next up is Max will be the savior in season 5. At the end of season 4, we quite literally saw Max Mayfield die and then proceed to get brought back to life by her best friend, Eleven. Since then, a lot of people have speculated on what's going to happen with Max. Will she be okay? Is she going to be able to walk, talk, see, feel, and breathe ever again? Well, here's my theory. I don't think it was in the original plans of Stranger Things for Max to just magically come back to life. I think they originally had her dying in season 4, but I have no way to prove that. With that being said, I think she will have a role in season 5, and I don't think it'll be a small role. What has happened to Max so far is very similar to what happened to Billy Hargrove in seasons 2 and 3. Billy was was flayed. Billy ended up dying because he was possessed by a demon from another dimension. Literally the exact same thing at face value happened to Max in season 4. She was possessed by Vecna and she ended up dying. Only now she'll be in a coma to start off season 5. So Max's body is still alive, but her mind is not there. I think her mind could be in Vecna's mind. In season 4, we saw how they helped Max get out of the big trance by playing running up that hill, right? So I think in season 5, a similar thing is going to have to take place in order for Max to get out of Vecna's mind. Ultimately, it will be one of two scenarios in my opinion. Max will be the key and help take down Vecna from the inside, or the more likely scenario, obviously, is whenever Eleven, Will, or the group finally take down Vecna, Max will be free and everything will go back to normal. And even after saying all of that, we really have no idea because at the end of the day, the show is named Stranger Things for a reason. The fourth theory is about Will Byers again, but this one is questioning whether or not Will Byers has powers. This is by far one of the most polarizing theories about Stranger Things 5, but I also think it's one of the most exciting theories I've ever made about any TV show ever. I've made dozens of theories on this, but after reviewing them all, the following one is not only the most exciting, but also makes the most sense in my opinion. So there are two ways that Will could potentially have powers. The first one is that Lonnie could have taken him to the lab when he was younger, which explains why he has that weird feeling on his neck and a birthmark on his wrist. Stranger Things is based on MK Ultra, where the government used to pay people to take drugs and get experimented on. So the theory is, since Lonnie was a deadbeat dad, he could have taken Will to Hawkins' lab for money when Will was a kid. This would also explain why Jonathan said, "Open your trunk," when he visited Lonnie in Indianapolis. Possibility number 2. He simply acquired them through Vecna, essentially having a permanent connection to him ever since he was in the Upside Down. Now you might be thinking to yourself, why would being in the Upside Down automatically affiliate him with powers? Well, the answer is, it doesn't. What makes him suspect of having powers is his connection with the Mind Flayer, which stemmed from him being in the Upside Down in the first place. In the first Shadow play, it was revealed that Henry/Vecna gained his powers from having Mind Flayer particles in his bloodstream. In season 2 of Stranger Things, not only was Will connected with the Mind Flayer, but the Mind Flayer was literally inside of his body. This suggests that the Mind Flayer particles might still be in his bloodstream. Now, although this theory sounds really cool, there's no proof of it as of right now, meaning only time will tell. Now, I gotta be honest, at this point, I don't see it as a real possibility at all. But I'm telling you right now, if it actually becomes true, it will absolutely be one of the biggest TV related things to ever grace the internet. I can't wait to see if it's even a possibility. Theory number 5 is Holly Wheeler is going to vanish in the final season. Recently, the episode titles for Stranger Things 5 were released by Stranger Things, and episode 2 was titled The Vanishing of Blank Wheeler. And of course, this theory is about it being Holly Wheeler. Originally, when these leaks came out about the episode titles, most people assumed it was Karen Wheeler because of her prominence in season 4, but I actually believe it's going to be Holly Wheeler who vanishes in that episode for a multitude of reasons. Firstly, the Duffers hinted at callbacks to season 1. In episode 3 of season 1 titled Holly Jolly, Holly is in the Byers' house when the lights flicker, and she sees the Demogorgon starting to force itself through a wall. This could have been a foreshadowing from the Duffers. Secondly, Holly Wheeler is a very young child who is unaware of the Upside Down. If she were to encounter a Demogorgon or Vecna in season 5, it's believable that she wouldn't know any better and would fall into danger. Lastly, her character is being recasted by Nell Fisher, also known for her role in the recent horror movie Evil Dead Rise. Holly Wheeler's character has been assigned a new stunt double as well, which adds weight to the speculation. Nell Fisher is 13 years old and is a step up from the previous actor playing Holly, suggesting she may have a more significant role in season 5. Also, the Duffers have mentioned spin-offs for Stranger Things, saying that the main characters will not be a part of the spin-offs. Therefore, a spin-off about Holly Wheeler with Nell Fisher would make a lot of sense. It could lead to a massive expansion in the Stranger Things universe, especially considering Fisher's age aligns with the main kids when they first started the show filming. Is this theory far-fetched? Maybe, but I love this theory, simply for the fact that it could set up a major Stranger Things spin-off, and having an actual character who is in for all 4 seasons in the spin-off would mean a lot. Theory number 6. Will and Henry have parallel storylines. Stranger Things began with Will Byers mysteriously disappearing into the Upside Down. The first episode is titled The Vanishing of Will Byers, which tells us he was a key character and will likely play a huge part in stopping Vecna. And Will seems to have a strange connection with Vecna. Even in season 4, he could sense Vecna's presence, getting that strange sensation on his neck whenever Vecna was nearby. But there's more to this feeling than meets the eye, in my opinion. For starters, Vecna's younger form, Henry Creel, shows an obvious resemblance to Will. They were both sensitive kids who faced bullying and family problems. While Henry's family didn't show much care, Will suffered emotional pain from his dad, Lonnie, who simply seemed to not care about his well-being. This was portrayed when Lonnie just wanted insurance money when Will quote-unquote died. And in Stranger Things, there are numerous scenes that highlight the similarities between Will and Henry. They both enjoyed drawing, and even both drew the Mind Flayer. However, unlike Henry, who was isolated and ultimately harmed his family with his powers, Will had the love and support of his family and friends for the most part. Also, in the Stranger Things play called The First Shadow, it was revealed that young Henry Creel was transported into an alternate dimension, and this is how he got his powers because of the Mind Flayer particles entering his bloodstream. Like I said in the previous theory, one could argue that exact same thing happened to Will, and his powers haven't been revealed yet. Henry may have seen something of himself in Will and desired that human connection. This could be why he tried to recruit Eleven initially, but ultimately he decided to abduct Will and took him to the Upside Down. And since returning from the Upside Down, Will still seems connected to that world, particularly to Vecna, like I said, with the neck sensations. Some people speculate that they're simply linked by chance, given Will was Vecna's first victim. But it could also be that Will was the chosen one in Vecna's eyes. Now, in Season 5, there's a possibility that Will might be tempted to join forces with Vecna. He's dealing with the feelings of rejection from Mike Wheeler, who doesn't show the same feelings. A lot of the Stranger Things community fear this could push Will down a darker path. However, I believe he's more likely to stand by Mike and his friends. And I think it would be cooler that Will would be the one to defeat Vecna. Despite the similarities, the crucial difference lies in the love and support that Will receives, while Henry was neglected by his entire family, sort of representing good versus evil. One thing is clear though, the parallels between Will and young Vecna are undeniable. And in my opinion, this choice was made on purpose by the creators. In Season 5, we'll most likely dive deeper into this connection. Honestly, this doesn't even seem like much of a theory at this point. It seems like it could just be true. Will Byers could easily be the good version of Henry Creel on the right side up, considering all their similarities and the fact that Will was treated good by his family and Henry was treated bad by his family. Theory number 7. Billy Hargrove could return in Season 5. Now, I don't think it's the craziest thing to say, but I don't think it's likely. This is one of my most popular theories out there, and for a good reason, because it's very interesting. Billy was obviously in Seasons 2 and 3, but he was not in Season 4, obviously not counting flashbacks. The first scene that Billy was showed in was him pulling up to high school in his awesome old Camaro, but on that old Camaro was a license plate. That license plate had 3 different numbers on it, 2, 3, and 5. So the theory is, Billy Hargrove was in Season 2, he was in Season 3, and he will be in Season 5. Now obviously that is extremely far-fetched, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. You see, in Season 3, Billy was the first ever character to see a duplicate of himself in the Upside Down. So what if that version of him that died in the right side up wasn't his original version, and instead it was his flayed self? This would be very cool because then Billy could help repay Max for all the trauma by helping her escape Vecna's grip. And if Billy is actually in the Upside Down, or he has a body in the Upside Down of himself, I could see a scenario where Vecna chooses to have him be a part of his army. Vecna could potentially do this to every character that has died in the Upside Down. And overall, if this theory were to come true, it would absolutely break the internet, just like 99% of these theories, but this one especially. However, if he doesn't return in Season 5, I will not let that take away from what Dacre has already done for the show. Dacre Montgomery being the person who played Billy Hargrove. His performance will go down in history as one of the most powerful acting performances of all time. He was amazing while he was actively acting in Stranger Things, and I believe that is undeniable. Like I said, I don't think this theory will become true, but a Dacre Montgomery cameo would be awesome to see in Season 5. Theory number 8. Vecna could sacrifice himself in the final season. I know the title of this theory might sound crazy, but let me explain my thought process behind this crazy but realistic prediction. In the Stranger Things play called The First Shadow, it was explained that Vecna got his powers because of the Mind Flayer particles, and that he was transported to a dimension called Dimension X. On top of that, Dustin said that Vecna is the Mind Flayer's 5-star general. So according to the play, and some subtle hints throughout the show, it seems like Vecna is still somewhat being controlled by something even stronger, which seems to be the Mind Flayer. So if this is the case, all the kids would have to do is figure out a way to disconnect the Mind Flayer from Vecna. And if they successfully pull that off, Vecna could potentially come to reality and realize what he's done, and then proceed to sacrifice himself by closing all the gates to the Upside Down by himself. Now, one way this could happen is if Max Mayfield is actually in Vecna's mind. If she is, then she could potentially help him bring back to reality because her mind is still alive even though her body is in a coma. Also, if at some point this link would be disconnected, Vecna could undergo a realization after observing Eleven's past, witnessing her struggles and the similar stuff she faces. He might empathize with her, recognizing the trauma and the suffering he inadvertently caused. This could obviously lead him to understanding that he doesn't want Eleven to endure the same fate as he did, and thus he resolves to end the battle on his own terms, in a selfless act, sort of how Billy Hargrove sacrificed himself at the end of Season 3. While I'm not 100% confident in this theory, this notion resonates with many fans that have pondered the existence of a larger villain. Considering these factors, I believe that a death like this would be most fitting around episode 5 or 6, serving as a pivotal moment in the final season. And then for Volume 2, the focus would shift onto the real villain, the Mind Flayer. And at last, the final theory. And just an FYI to all of you guys listening right now, this is my most recent theory I've made for Stranger Things Season 5. The theory is the kids will survive in Season 5 because of the tunnels. First off, we got some leaked production images that looked eerily similar to those tunnels. This isn't just a random callback, it's a clue. The writers have been dropping hints that we should rewatch Season 2 before diving into Season 5, which tells me there's something significant about those dark passages. My guess is our beloved characters who are now older will either discover these tunnels or actively seek them out. Perhaps they were never even fully sealed off, or maybe something new from the Upside Down is stirring them up again. Imagine if these tunnels now connect not just under Hawkins, but to key locations like Hopper's cabin or the radio station. And we know the radio station will play a major role in Season 5. This could turn the tunnels from a place of fear into a strategic advantage for Eleven and the gang. It would allow them to move around undetected or even launch surprise attacks. What if the Mind Flayer left more than just physical remnants? What if there's pieces of the Mind Flayer's consciousness or new creatures born from its influence lurking in the darkness in the Upside Down tunnels? This would transform the tunnels into something more than just passageways. They could be alive, and they could react to the presence of anyone or anything from the Upside Down. And then this could obviously turn the tables on our characters, especially for someone like Will, who might face not just physical threats but also emotional ones, dealing with past traumas of course. This could add a deeper emotional layer to the story, showing how our characters have grown while still being haunted by their past. Now let's talk about the grand finale. I'm betting these tunnels will play a crucial role in the season's climax. Whether they're used to finally seal off the Upside Down for good, or in a dramatic twist to open it even further, these tunnels could hold the key to everything. Imagine a final showdown where these dark pathways lead to a gate that could either save or doom Hawkins. Finally, these tunnels could also be a way to transport Eleven around Hawkins, as the military are still after her and do not want her to be free. I think this theory has like an 80% chance of becoming true, and Eleven and the kids are gonna need somewhere to hide, and like I said in the theory, they could use it to their advantage for surprise attacks. And if I was in their situation, you bet I'd be using those tunnels. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed this long yapping session about Stranger Things Season 5, and if you guys enjoyed this video, please be sure to drop a like and share it with a friend. It would help me out a ton. Sharing this video could go a long way. And if you guys want to talk Stranger Things with me, consider joining my Discord down below, where we talk Stranger Things pretty much every single day, and all my other socials are also in the description. I appreciate you guys watching this video, and if you have any other Stranger Things video suggestions, make sure to drop them down in the comments, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace out.